Hi, Sensei 111 here. I want to talk about something interesting that happened to me with a new pistol I bought, which was the Compact 9 Smith & Wesson M&P M2.0. I have a previous full-length M2.0, and I've got them disassembled on purpose for what I'm going to talk about. So I've seen some videos about all the mods. I'm not going to go over all the mods at the M2.0, but one in particular is the slide stop. And I had an issue with my non-M2.0. I had a 9L core, and when I shot IDPA, I would get the birthday bounce or auto forward when inserting a new mag, and about half the time it would not load a round. That only occurred in round limited competitions like IDPA or some local matches that restrict ammunition loading to 10 or less. When I'm doing 3-gun or anything else where you can load your mags full, I don't get that issue. I think it's because it's rebounding. The column, the bullet column is rebounding off of the, when you insert it, it's rebounding off the slide pickup here that picks up the round, this rail right there. And just enough time to miss picking up the round. And I've seen it happen to other people with different guns, that auto forward. So I picked this up particularly for IDPA because it has this little spring-loaded device. I don't know what the name of it is, but it has a little pawl there, and it's kind of hard to see what how it works without taking it apart. But it keeps that slide lock up, and it will not release it without purposely pushing it down or pulling the slide back, which pushes it down. That notch right there pushes it down when you pull the slide back, slingshot it. And that's how the manual says to load it. It does not call this a slide release. You've seen all the videos about that. It is a slide stop. To properly load from a open port, you slingshot the slide to let it go and disengage the stop that way. Also, it's ambidextrous, and a lot of people have problems taking this off from the right side because it's kind of a bad design. It takes a lot of pressure to push that down from the opposite side. So I feel sorry for lefties or when you have to shoot left. So I've been doing well with that in IDPA. I slingshot it. I'm thinking about doing the manual down. It's broken in enough now where this is pretty easy. But then I picked this one up to shoot compact carry. And I shot it at a little local match, and dang, if and I'm downloaded to 8 rounds, and every single reload, this thing auto-forwarded. And it picked up a round every time. So I'm like, well, that's weird. So I was trying to figure out, and I have some problem with the mechanism somewhere that's causing that. And I noticed that this little pawl here was stuck down, and you can push that down and it should come back up and give a little friction to this slide lock. Well, mine wasn't doing that. So I looked online to see if there's any videos on how to take this thing apart and see what's going on with it. And I didn't really know how it was put in the gun. I took some educated guesses here with these little openings that it might slide out. So you can actually take this thing off. Well, I say you can. You have to take, yeah, if you pull it up that far, you can hit the front edge with a punch and it will slide out and come off. And these are all metal. This is all metal here. It's a little kind of channel, dead-ended. There's a very stiff spring in there. And there's this weird little device that pivots in a slot against that spring. And it was just stiff. So I thought about calling Smith & Wesson and then having to send it in or see if they'd send me that part. And I thought, well, let me try fixing it. So I managed, I couldn't find how to get it out, so I just kind of took an educated guess, figured out how to get it out by looking at these features that it has to slide out. And I took the thing apart, and you're going to need to put this in a Ziploc bag. And you're going to want to hold this bigger part here with your fingers and grab this with a little pair of little fine needle nose pliers and wiggle it out till the spring pops loose. And that way, in doing it inside a Ziploc bag, you won't lose that spring. So I took the parts apart and kind of fit them, and they were kind of stiff. And so I took some light diamond filing, honing to them, various interfaces there, and I got it to work. So I thought, okay, that's great. If you have this problem and you don't want to send it into Smith to get fixed, you can fix it yourself. And then I thought, you know, some people like all the features of the M2.0. They like the enhanced trigger, and I really do like the trigger, the extra steel, the longer slide engagement here. But they do not like this slide lock. They like the old one where they get the birthday bounce. But you know what? I think all you got to do is knock that out, and then you're back to a non-M2.0 auto forwarding slide release. And then you can keep this part, and if you have to sell it or whatever, you can pop it back in and you're good to go. So if you want to, you know, get rid of your slide lock detent, just pull the trigger back, pop that out, knock that back with a punch, right, like so. And you're going to need a hammer. It's in there pretty good. But trust me, it'll come back. There's some little ears right here, and they get in these slots right here, and you can pull it right out. So don't be afraid. And take it out, and you got yourself an auto forwarding Smith again with all the other advantages of the M2.0 trigger and frame and so forth. So just thought I'd pass that along. Sorry I didn't actually show you how to do it, but hopefully my explanation, you'll be able to figure it out and modify your gun as needed. As usual, all things you do to your firearm are at your risk. Don't do anything I say or do just based on that. So user assumes all risk, as usual. Thanks.